Woolly booger, woolly booger. Well, let me see if we're going to have anybody in here this morning. You heard it, folks. 5 o'clock. Come on, let's get up. We got one person in here already. Huh. Oh, what's missing? We need a hat. Ah, now we're a Harley rider. You can't be a Harley rider unless you have a Harley hat and oil under your fingernails. Well, there's one human being in here. They're pulling back the curtain. They're looking in. They go, who is this? I've seen this guy before. And it would be American Outlaw. Eric, how you doing, my friend? I'm hoping your health issues are not making your life miserable in the winter. Winter itself can be miserable enough without having some kind of a health issue. Um, I know it won't be. It'll be just a few months, and you'll be able to get that project of yours going. Oh, perfect, prepping for surgery. Oh, well, I'm hoping all goes well, and God bless you. He has blessed you. You wouldn't be here today if He had not have blessed you so far. You've, you know, you gave it your all for your country. Flag right here. Now I'm hoping that they do the right thing and get you fixed up. Ah, well, you don't know how much your shoulders mean to you until you got where one don't work. I got a younger brother. He has shoulder problems. I don't know if you heard himself when he's young. Occasionally he gets like arthritis builds up in his shoulders, and he's never went and done anything about it. But He's just one of them tough old codgers. He's like me. He's done got up past 80. So if you saw my brother Robert now, he's a young looking guy. You know, he don't show his age very much. I'm hoping he's going to be with us for a long time. Did you see? No, you wouldn't on. I'll show you this before you have to leave. Uh, American Outlaw. I got us now to where we can keep track of everybody everywhere at every time at all times and everything. And um, like over there, see the reason I got it set up like this Um, that one right there shows me that my internet is still running. Oh man. Oh yeah, I bet you recognize one of them up there, don't you? Says honorable discharge. Well, I like that. I mean, what I mean, my own self worth feels um, it has value because way back in the 50s, old Mac said, "It's time to go." My mother said, "Oh hell no, you're not going. You're not going." I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Over my dead body." But well, the reason she is saying that is my brother had just been killed a couple of years earlier. He had been killed in the army, and she didn't want to lose another one. But I'm still here. As you can hear, I've got a little bit of a runny nose today. It's that time of the year. I went out one day when it was clear, and there was pollen on the truck already. Pollen, because we got what's called the red bud down here in the south. The red bud is a tree that grows really big and it flowers out and puts out so much pollen. And here next month now we'll start seeing in March we'll start seeing pollen from the pine trees, and that's worst of all. It turns everything yellow. You might have been stationed down in the South during your career while you was in the military, but um, in the South we dread spring when the pollen from the pine trees start coat everything will turn yellow. It'll be so thick on your windshield, turn your windshield wipers on, and it leaves it'll clear out a hole just where the pollen was at. Well, we're in the same boat. Well, I tell you what, we really used to love when my relatives would come home from the war. They'd be talking and they'd say, I met a guy from Bismarck, North Dakota. Now, here's being a plowboy from Alabama or a coal miner or a truck driver from Alabama, and you go off to war, and the buddy you meet that becomes a good friend of yours is from Michigan or New York or California or Texas, places you ain't been yet. And now you've got one of your best friends. You become friends because you've waded through blood together. You're blood brothers. And they would tell us about different characters. I had an uncle, he put in 38 years in the Navy. 38 years. He went into the Navy in about 1918. I believe it's 1918. The World War One was on, and he shoveled coal. He shoveled coal from Mobile, Alabama, and they didn't have the Panama Canal. They went around all the way around the tip of South America. And he said that when he got down there, the water got really cold. He was down in the boiler area, and he said you could touch the side of the ship and it would be really cold. And then they sailed back and came up across the equator and came back and went all the way up to Alaska, shoveling coal. And he shoveled coal all the way up to Alaska, but as closer he got to Alaska, the colder the water got. And he stayed the rest of World War One in Alaska, and the war finally was over. And then they sent him to China, and he lived for 10 years in China. And that was the greatest time of his life. My brother and I, we went to see him when he got out of the Navy. he got out and lived in Ferndale, California, up on the coast, up by Eureka, Ukiah, up there, right on the coast, Ferndale. He had a beautiful little house right where the water was at, and he was an old seaman. But he told us stories, told my brother and I stories about he had a friend named Peanut, and they needed something to drink real bad, and they had this 500-gallon tank of alcohol up on the main deck, and it was used for starting the boilers. They'd use alcohol to get the boiler going, and then they would switch over. They would shovel coal, and so they said, well, if we'd go up there and get that alcohol, they'd done it before, and you take a loaf of bread and you cut out a hole and you let that alcohol run into that bread, and you got it in a bag, and whatever drips out on the other end after you let that stream of alcohol run down through there, it makes the alcohol safe enough to drink. That's what they said. But back in them days when a guy needed a drink, he'd drink rubbing alcohol. But anyhow, Peanut goes up there, and they didn't have power drills back in them days. They didn't have battery powered drills. They had a thing it's called a brace and bit, a brace and bit. And you could turn a crank, and you put the ball part in the pit, and you'd shove up on it, and you'd turn the crank, and the little gears would turn the bit. So he goes up there with a brace and bit. It took him a while to get all the equipment, but he goes up there and was going to catch a jug full of this alcohol. So he drills this hole up through the bottom of the tank, and he was going really good. All of a sudden, the night watchman, the person on the ship that was doing night watch, uh, he saw motion and he shined his light over there, and Peanut panicked. Yeah, brace and bit. You know what I'm talking about there. Um, he took off and he fled, but when he left, he had to leave the brace a bit. The brace, it just sort of unraveled itself and dropped down, and that little tiny stream, he had a little drill bit in there because he's going to stick a matchstick back in the hole so they can just pull the matchstick out and they'd be able to get all the alcohol they wanted. Hey, Ray Moto Life. Good morning. So now they're down inside the ship, and they're getting on to him because he didn't get any alcohol. And Peanut was saying, "Hell, they almost got me, man. I would have been in the brig." And so anyhow, meanwhile, this flow of alcohol is coming down through there, and pretty soon somebody picked up this trail of alcohol was coming all the way down to the boiler room. You know what happens? You get fire on alcohol, and so so they sounded general quarters, and oh my God, they had to go in and take mops, and they had to mop all that alcohol up, and then they had to go to general quarters, and he said they went to great lengths back in them days to make a little hooch. They had all kinds of names for the stuff that they made in the Navy. That was when men were a little bit tougher back in them days. They were a little bit rowdier. Well, Ray, Eric is going to head out to the doctor pretty soon. They got shoulder issues. They got to address it. They've been having some ongoing issues with his shoulder, and they got to work that out for him. Oh, well, American Outlaw, buddy, you just God bless you, and we're hoping that for the very best for you. As they say down here, y'all come on back, you hear? I, I don't have a Southern accent. I don't have a Southern accent. Y'all come on back. Do y'all hear? Oh no, well I'll talk a little softer this morning. I don't have headaches. I did when I was young. Um, but as we got as an adult, we finally got really good insurance. So I went to a vascular specialist that deals only with the brain and the causes and the reasons for headaches. And hey, Ben, how you doing, buddy? My day was blessed. The minute my feet hit the floor right over there, I knew it was going to be a good day. Um, yeah, I'm trying to read the notes over there. Can you imagine these people that's really popular that has hundreds and thousands of people over there, and that board is just moving back and forth and and trying to read it. Yeah, I changed my station up yesterday. I'm always having an issue with the internet going out on me, and I never know when it's going to go out. If I got the TV on over there, which I don't have this morning, well, I've got the TV on, you can see it buffered in, and that means my signals drop down bad enough for the TV to have to buffer, and then I start winding my little show up and get off before it stops. Because when it stops right in the middle of a word, and you might be like, "Yeah." So I got my Ben. I've changed my. This yeah, I just did it for Eric a while ago. There's my other system over there, and it is designed just so I can look over, and if that wheel spins on that one over there, see it don't show up on this one here because this is the one the camera is hooked up to, and it always looked like it's working. I sat there the other day. I talked for 30 minutes, but I didn't know at it just over 12 minutes the thing had signed off. It had turned off, and then finally this one turned off, and I went, oh no. So I went in and set that one up over there so I could watch that one. When that one goes bad, then I'll start turning this one off. Got to do what you got to do. If you're going to do this thing, might well go whole hog, right? Yeah, I went out. I went out yesterday. I lasted for 1 hour and 41 minutes, I believe. And then Sterling Wheel came in, and we were having some fun. And then all of a sudden, I saw that one over there was spinning. I went, oh no. And so I went back and reviewed this one over here after I got everything back working, and it showed the very moment that right, just like I said, right at the very last minute, the thing just stopped. No goodbyes or sorrow nora or anything like that. It's a little cool this morning. I don't know exactly how cold it is, but I'll tell you in a minute. It's not. It's going to be really bad Thursday. We're in heading towards a deep freeze. We had a storm. Ben, you might have saw 27 degrees for you. Well, let me see. My temperature is, make sure it's going to stabilize. And wouldn't want to show you a lie. It is not as bad as you're talking about. We're just slightly below freezing. 25 in Georgia. I need on my accumulated hours, you got to have 3,000 hours, and I'm only 200 and like 230 hours away from the having the 2,000 hours. And I did a live for 10 hours. I put the camera outside so people could see the raccoons, but it was one of them nights where only one or two raccoons showed up. Now I put a lot of feed out for them last night because I'll do more feeding during the cold nights. I put some really high dollar stuff out for them last night. It was stuff I bought for my dogs. It's little bacon wrapped um, nuggets. So I put them over in the pan. I filled the pan up full of bacon wrapped nuggets over there, and that'll help them get a little energy. Yeah, 30 is not bad. You can see I don't have an overcoat. I just got a light sweatshirt on. Yeah, that's unfortunately when the camera runs like that. You can take the little down at the bottom of the scroll line and just move the scroll slowly across, and when you see an animal appear on the screen, then you can see them that way. But um, I'm not going to go back into full feeding them because here's the deal: I've got a broken right leg, both bones, and they got plates and stuff in there, and I have to pack the 50-pound bags up the steps, and it's getting harder and harder for me to walk as age. And when you put a 50-pound bag on your shoulder and come up that deck, one slip, and old Mac could be just like wiped out. It'd be his time would be up. So we don't want that to happen. So I sacrificed. I quit feeding the animals. I went to Washington State, so I put the last 80 pounds of food in the hopper. And my buddy came over. I think he said I'd been gone about 3 weeks, and he came over and he said it was almost gone. So it lasted a little over 3 weeks. 80 pounds did. Oh, you and John did well, that's 4 hours. The longest I did with an audience was 7 hours. Me and Sick and a whole bunch of guys. I think I might have done under 7 hours because Sick he was ahead of me as far as doing a continuous live show. I think he had already got 7 hours. I got close to the 7 hours. If I didn't beat it, I don't. If I didn't make it, I don't know. But we had a lot to say, and we just stayed on until we got it said. But then what has happened? We're in the winter time, of course, everywhere, and with the winds and the storms and stuff, it's 7 miles to the tower, and there's storms in that 7 mile area. Pressure differences, and it causes the signal to go away. That's a good 10 hour. Oh, I've been there many times. Yeah, the Dragon Tail, we did that. I came from Washington, and I brought my bike down from Washington. I had entered a race in Jefferson County. It was called the King of the Mountain Race. At the time, I was riding a Yamaha. Uh, it was a Yamaha RT something other 350. And it was a really fast bike, for that time. A two-cycle engine, two-cylinder, two-cycle. And we came down here to run the King of the Mountain race. And when we did we went and done the Tail of the Dragon. That would have been probably 19, I believe that was 67 or 68. And it was a little bit more rugged back in them days. You didn't have a lot of the guardrails up, and you didn't have a major production of it. It had not been discovered as being a great riding road. And then they've made mockery of it. You got guys come up there with 200 horsepower R1s, R2s, and all that stuff, and they go up through there and they fly off and kill themselves and kill other people, and it just become a circus. I mean, like somebody asked Ray Gregory something about the Tail of the Dragon the other day, and I think he basically, I believe I summarized it. The thrill is pretty well gone now, because you could be killed by a reckless fool, and you're doing your best and having a really good time. I don't mind dragging the pigs. I don't mind that at all. But when you go crazy, if there's a guy up in front of you dragging his pegs going in the corner, and you go on his inside, and then you lose it and you take both of you out, that's crazy stuff. Yeah, there's a better play. I wrote it. Remember this? I lived in Washington State for 40 years. If you want to go where a life and death ride, go up and ride Chinook Pass. Chinook is up in the Cascade Mountains. And just one, you got sitting right over to your right a mountain that's 14,310 feet high, maybe 410 feet high, 14,000 feet sitting right there. And you slide between another mountain over there called Mount Adams, another 14,000. You go up through this thing, and oh my God, one miscalculation. You come around a corner and it's nothing but a sheet of ice. Because when you get above 8,000 feet, you can have ice anywhere. Hey, Journey. I'm hoping life is good for you. I'm sorry, I was busy talking. I didn't see you when you showed up on the board. I wish I had a little dinger every time a new one had come up. Go bing bing. I go, let me see, who's that? I was just busy talking, and you guys talk amongst yourself. Old Mac is here just for bringing people together. Oh, there's some good places. Let me see. There's another one, the Darien Gap. The Darien Gap. That's also up by the Canadian border. Your Cascades runs up through there, and then you've got the Rocky Mountains as you get up towards Alberta. You know, the British Columbia, and then as you get over on the Rocky Mountain side, oh my God, there's some. Yeah, I've done the Rabbit Ear too. The Rabbit Ear, if you ever look at it, if you think going to Leadville, Colorado is a good ride, or going up on what the hell is that little old mountain they like to run up that little they have a little my brother and I, we went all the way to the top of that the road over there by Leadville, Colorado, the one they like to race up it. Him and I, we went up there, and we did that in the, I believe that was in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s. And yeah, me and my brother, we rode from my brother Robert and my brother-in-law Ray. We rode from Madera, California, on our bikes up to Yosemite, and when we camped in Yosemite with a sleep, bedroll, and we broke out our bedroll and slept, and bears tried to kill us during the night. That was back in the early 60s. And then we rode to Tioga. And if you look on Google Maps, look up Tioga Pass. In the old days, it was over 11,000 feet to cross the pass. And when you went up over the hump, over the pass there, you dropped down into Carson City, Nevada. And that is, you got to have some hair on your nuts to ride that one right there. It was, yeah, I was young and it even scared me a little bit. That's there. That whole Tennessee is just it's a different place in the world. You got your Eastern Tennessee, Central Tennessee, and of course Western Tennessee. But the Eastern side, to me, it's as close as Americana as you're going to come. You've got the indigenous people. You got your different tribes of people, the indigenous people. You got your earlier pioneer you got descendants of the early pioneering days. Yeah, East Tennessee has a lot to be proud of. I ain't talking about the political aspects of the state. It's just the land itself. A lot of great politicians come out of Tennessee. Some of them went on to be the president. That was back during the hard days. Um, Kentucky, I did a tour of Hazard County, and I took my drone up there, and I went into little towns that they were just happy to see me. Any outsider. Drugs were real heavy when I went up there in Harlan County. Uh, drug drugs there in West Virginia and that part of Kentucky. We wasn't into drugs, but we saw the effects of the drugs. What happens to the communities that gets devastated with crack and all that kind of stuff. But it was a journey I really enjoyed. I took my two sisters. They came down from Washington, and I took my two sisters to Harlan County, and I took them up into West Virginia. I took them to Beckley. I took them to Gurley Falls. If you go to Beckley on US 19, and after you cross the big bridge, you make a left up there, and you can go back to Gurley Falls, big waterfalls that comes from way off on the top of the mountain. And we stayed at an inn. I can't even remember the name of that town, but I made a video of it. I flew my drone there and made a video of the town with the drone. And we stayed in a hotel there that was built back during General George Washington's time, President of Washington. It was built. It's 100. When we was there, it was 175 years old. I mean, it had been there for a long time. They During the Civil War, a lot of great generals and stuff. They switched hands several times, and yeah, a lot of history there. Well, tell us, Journey, what has been going on with you since the last time we saw you? Last time you come over on the old Max page and visited with him. I'm hoping life has been good to you. We have every once in a while we'll have Dragon Queen and some people that we knew a long time ago on different platforms, like Live Journey. Well, I used to spend a lot of time on Live Journey, and there, I watched the war as it broke out in Israel, and I saw the live cameras all over, and they really, that's a good channel. Um, if you follow that kind of stuff, to me, if you ever picked up a Bible in your hand and read some of it, a lot of the stuff you we're seeing today, it was foretold, and uh, and I just like watching history unfold and being a part of it. Well, on almost anything, Ray, you have to take the good with the bad. We have, like in Washington State's divided up in three distinct sections. Western Washington is the political base where all the income comes from. That's where the population is. That's where all the all the stuff that happens in life happens on the western side. And then you got Central Washington, which is a farming area, and that belt of arid soil stretches all the way down into California, all the way across Oregon, right through the middle of Oregon, and it's like a desert. You got dunes and all that kind of stuff. And then you get to Eastern Washington, more of your successful retirees live over in Eastern side. They make their money on the West, retire to the East because it has four seasons. Seattle, the West side, only has one season, and that's rain. And Spokane has four seasons. I lived there. I was stationed over there at Fairchild Air Force Base. I we lived in Spokane for a little while. We enjoyed that. That was really I like that whole area over there. If you go down to down to Pullman, down there's where the university, the state school, Washington State's over there at Pullman. We used to go over and fish on the Snake River. It came out of Idaho, and we'd go over and rig up, try to get sturgeon, big fish. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you that took the time out today to come over and visit. I keep looking at that computer over there, that monitor, and it looks like it's running good. It's like I have a chance to look ahead in the future. That one right there is this is the future right here. This is the reality. This is the present right now. And that was just a second and a half ago. I like to manipulate time. Yeah, we spent the day organizing um, all the desk and everything. We didn't spend the day. We spent a big part of the day yesterday and got everything organized. Got on the air. Oh, we're done. I see the wheel start. Well, the wheel just started to spin. If I get a message up here, it means I'm finished. Well, the wheel quit spinning over there. I may have a little bit of lag. I don't know. We have the world's sorriest service here. It don't last no time now. So I have had, like I say, 10 hours I've been on here, and not even once did it even buffer. And now they got where they cut me off after just a few minutes. But that's changing. The reason I did all this stuff here to set this thing up this way, um, when my fiber line, they've already run the line across my yard. It's out there 100 feet or so from me. And when it gets in here, then we'll run that unit over there. I'll use that for processing and editing videos, and this will be the main computer that I can do live streaming. And I might come up with some different things to do. Might change up the format a little bit. I might be like some of them other people, start giving stuff away. I'm not trying to lure in the crowd because God knows I don't want to be. I'm not trying to become financially secure through YouTube. I do want to see the numbers grow because it's just a thing that a human being wants to do. Oh yeah, anybody that thinks they got a head of steam up that's unstoppable. If it fits within God's plan, it will be unstoppable. But if it's not within God's plan, it's not gonna never gonna amount to a hill of beans. I've seen a lot of things come and go in my almost 85 years. All of them are good. I'm gonna tell you, I lived through some hard times. I was born before World War II, and I got to see the boys come home from the war. And then we had Korea. That was so fresh in my mind. We couldn't believe that after World War II was over, we find ourselves rolling in to Korea. But we'd already lit off the big atomic bomb, so we had a little bit more swagger, when we went into Korea. But did we achieve anything? Did we accomplish anything? You ask the soldiers that was in the Forgotten War. That's one they don't want to talk about a lot. The Forgotten War. Yeah, America was making some changes. We went through a lot of stuff, a lot of turmoil. I went through the beatnik era of time in the early 50s. I went through the hippie phase, the long hairs, all you musical groups that came from England. Over here, we had groups like Ernest Tubbs and Roy Acuff and the Smoky Mountain Boys, and that's all we knew. And then all of a sudden, they came over with that long hair, and they had names like Beatles and all that stuff, and they all had that long hair. And next thing you know, every little old nephew, even including yourself, now your hairs grow down past your ears, and all your military stuff, and mustache to the corner of your lip right here, and sideburns down to the center of the ear. And next thing you know, you got hair down to your shoulders. And Everybody had the long hair and everybody smoking a reefer, getting a little high on some stuff. And because when we came up, man, reefer madness, everybody was, oh, it's going to kill the whole world. And we lived through all that, the love period of time when nothing but love. Everybody loved one another. And then all of a sudden, AIDS showed up. That throw a wet blanket on love, man. Not because you were doing any of the none of the perversions or stuff like that, but your partner that you may connect up with in a free love society might have encountered one of those situations where it spread it to you. Then all of a sudden it wasn't a social blight. AIDS wasn't just for them guys. All of a sudden, good people like myself was getting AIDS. I didn't get AIDS, but we knew people that lived a good life, but they got a transfusion. And then all of a sudden, oh no. I mean, um, Ray, as time, the good Lord, when He gave you your brain, like computers and your routers and stuff, they get a bunch of built up crap in them and then they quit working. Well, the good Lord developed a brain and He put a little portion in it called the forgetter. It allows you to remove some of the unnecessary stuff in your brain so that you can make room for new, fresh material, fresh data, fresh technology. And after you get past the age of 80, your forgetter works full time. Where did I lay my keys? Where are we going? Who are you? That's our life. Like, we don't have no shame in not knowing where my keys are. Because the way it works when you get my age, you can turn to somebody that loves you and that's close to you and say, where did I put my keys? And they go, oh, I got them right here. Oh, okay. Oh, where are we going? What are we having for lunch? Yeah, the forgetter is working 100%, man. But it never forgets all them bad things you did in your life, things that you and yourself evaluate as being bad. When you get over there in that resting area, you play back all those moments of all those bad things that you view in your mind as bad. Forgetter never eliminates them. That's what keeps the old heart stout because there's going to come a time when our conflict is about to develop. And you can remember back what happened in 1957 when you let these override the good judgment. And you say to yourself, there's a better way. And don't make you a coward to negotiate yourself out of a situation to prevent causing harm to another human being is not a cowardly way. It's a godly way. So if you find when the old pressure is building up and you got stuff on your back and that guy gets into your face or gets too close to you on your bike or whatever, just chill out. Live for another day. Don't let him take you out. All human beings live with the suppressing the desire to take a human life. You go, no, I don't never think about taking a human life. If you're pushed, you're going to retaliate. And you know with your hands on how to hurt this, just that one muscle right there. will completely ruin you and the person that receives that. It's a cowardly way of doing it. You kill a man because of a traffic offense. You get out, there's a little rage, and you pop a cap in him, and his little 2-year-old kid is crying next to him, and his wife will never love him again. And God will turn his back on you. You don't want that. You can be an asshole and do all the stuff that makes you kind of feel good, but just don't break them rules that's going to cause him to turn his back on you. Now, enough for that. This is Tuesday, and the little woman here, little Angelique, she done said she's going to make me a bowl of oatmeal this morning because we anticipated it being a lot colder this morning than what it is. Yeah, all of us here. I've got pictures of Ruth, my wife. I bought a, the one that you pull the trigger and it go, and I wanted her to. She never. I don't think she ever fired it, but been living here in the South, as you know, Ray. Ben, you guys know that if you want something that shoots a lot of ammo, you can. This is all really available. It's everywhere. But we used to have a lot of ammo stored up, and we'd have people come over here, and next thing I know, man, we had went through a lot. And now uh, to go through a lot of ammunition, you're talking about a lot of money. It's becoming spendy. We were shooting 500 Smith and Wesson at everybody. Once you break the gun out, everybody, little old girls, they want to shoot the 500 Magnum. They it makes them feel good, and so you break out the gun, and next thing you know, you've already went through 3 boxes of ammo, and just look at the price of one of them bullets. Oh, my sister, she carries, well, she used to do a lot more. Every time she'd buy a new gun, she'd come down to my place because she lived in the city, and she would shoot at my place. And she's brought a lot of nice guns down here, and we've shot a lot of stuff. But see, she had to have a defibrillator pacemaker thing put in there. And she's like me; she's already passed the big 80 mark. So I think you think more about it after you get past 80 than you ever did before about staying alive just a little bit longer. They told her not to shoot a gun. Now, this was not some kind of low life and liberal snowflake telling her not to shoot a gun. They was talking about the impact. The vibration could affect the heart, and she could go into cardiac arrest. And she didn't want that, so she found it was easier just to lay the guns up. She's got a lot of guns, got a good collection of guns. Me and her used to go on gun buying sprees. I took her to my favorite gun store down in Bessemer. Down there, it's indigenous local people. Oh hell, I'm off the air already. God damn. Sign just came up on here. Oh, this piece of sorry crap. I'm gonna see how long it stays on. Yeah, you saw it. My internet's about to go. Oh man, everything was unplugged. All there was. They always say when you have these issues, unplug it. It was all unplugged. I plugged it in just before going on the air. If I can get past this bad spot, maybe it pick back up. Let me see if I can bring up. Let me see if I can bring up my speed checker. That's what I do. I go do a speed check. All right. Speed test. Oh, well, that ain't gonna work. It's so bad it won't let me do a speed test. Oh man. I wish I could see what. Okay, I don't know. See, I'm like an old dying old man. See what's happening here. I'm doing everything I can to try to stay on the air just a little bit longer. Oh Lord, let me just stay on the air. We don't have nothing here. We never have had any form of internet. We've never had any cable here. We're fixing to get. I got a I got an eye that's tearing up on me for some reason. Um, we we've never had any cable out here. We've always had to have some kind of a satellite dish or something to be able to get any kind of signal. We don't even have hard wire like telephone. There's no telephone service out here. If you don't have one of these, you just don't have nothing. But when the fiber gets here, is my signal all, Ray, tell me, is my video all bad now? It looks like the wheel quit spinning and everything is stabilized. Are we back okay now? Oh, good. Thanks. Yeah, let me know if you see. I know it'll shut me off if I got a warning on the screen, and usually within a few seconds it'll turn me off. The screen goes green and the little wheel spins. And oh, good. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. And having that other monitor, see, I was able to spot it before it occurred over here. That one showed me that the wheel was spinning. Anyhow, yeah, we watched America grow. We didn't have an interstate system when I was born. Then General Dwight D. Eisenhower, he commissioned the interstate deal in 1953, and we used to ride on old Route 66. From here, I made a lot of trips out to the West Coast on Route 66. We'll just keep going as long as it'll work. Because I'm coming up on 1 hour. Yeah, we've watched the nation being built with the freeway system. I rode the first time I went to the West Coast, I rode on a Greyhound bus. Yeah, we that was a really an enjoyable ride. And then we started having children, and we'd still transport the kids back and forth All aboard. Yeah, it's getting to see your children reborn. That was another milestone. And seeing the changes. It wasn't bad. I mean, I saw some good things. I saw a lot of bad things. You got to take the good with the bad. In my own body, I've had most wonderful experiences within my body, right? Like some of the motorcycle races I was in, some of the car racing I was in, some of the cars I built for drag racing. I mean, that's some really good time. And I got children that builds cars and they race and they do the same thing. They're carrying on after I'm gone. Maybe they'll live a nice long life and they'll get to do all the things I got to do. Everybody carries their own load. Sure, your dad can provide security for you during your younger years, and he can help you to form the character that you're going to be through your father and the tenderness of your mother. If I was to concentrate on the darkness in my life, I'm at the end. I could it becomes very morbid if you start thinking about the darkness in your life, the pain and agony of my feet. Um, and during all this rain that we've been having, or they put the plates and stuff in my leg is just it's causing me a lot of issues as time goes by. Calcium is building up. Now I've lost almost all the mobility in my foot. So when I'm walking, I have to walk and measure each step so that my end of my toe doesn't dig in just a little bit and then I go tumbling forward. And it's awkward because now what that does, it changes your whole calf structure of your leg and your thigh muscles, and you don't have the stability. And that's a bad feeling. Now you know about stuff like this, Ben. You know you're being paralyzed. You can imagine probably if you was able to do what I'm doing, as bad as it even hurts, it'd be a blessing to you to be able to walk the amount I get to walk. I got to walk in my woods the other day. I didn't know if I could do it, and I challenged myself to go for a walk in the woods, in the most harshest woods. I mean, it's not like a little nice little gentle path through the forest. It's undergrowth, ticks, get ticks on you. Um, there's just snakes out there. You can get bit by a copperhead or an eastern diamondback. We got some big old diamondbacks over here on the county road. That's actually State Road 91. I was coming up over the hill, fixing to go down over the hill, and I saw this big old eastern diamondback crawl out on the road. Well, as soon as he heard me coming, he coiled up and he looked right at me. And I reached over and got my camera. And I wanted to get a picture. And I'm going fixing to go down the hill, but my camera was a Nikon camera, and it took a little fiddling. I had it in manual mode because I do a lot of manual shooting. So I was adjusting the lens, and a big old triaxle truck coming up the hill went right over the top of it. I never got a picture. It just squished it. Big boy, big old Eastern Diamondback. Never even got a picture. Oh, I could have took a picture of the little squish snake, but that's two of them I've seen of that size. And I got a buddy named Joe, not my buddy Joe here. I got another. He lives down in Selma, Alabama, and he's got some big old rattlers down there. He shoots them. They got big old heads on them, so you can't miss a head if you can shoot a dog. When that head is up there, you can shoot that head, and as big as your hand. They got a big head, and that's like the cottonmouths. You know, they got big heads. You can shoot them in the head pretty easy. They got a small neck. You know, behind that big old head, that neck's so, and you're shooting them in the body, they still can strike you. You know, I mean, you got to shoot them in the head if you're going to kill a snake. I don't kill the I don't kill the rat snakes and stuff like that. They do a lot of good. Yeah, I think a lot of times I say to myself, man, I wish I'd have got that on video. I went, I bought me a new Mustang GT, and my wife, she was in good health at that time. And I loaded my dog Theo up. He's over there in the bed. I loaded Theo up, and me and him took off and traveled across America, just me and the dog and my drone. I've got a six engine, six motor unique. It's got six motors on it, and it has a big 8-inch screen down here that you can control. You got a big keyboard, and it comes around your neck, and you can control it, and all your sticks and everything is on the controller. Big, fairly large 8-inch screen on it, and the thing you could fly it for several miles. Mine was a pro model, and I have a license. I have an aviation license. You have to get a 107 license to be able to fly uh, as much as you want to fly. In other words, as high as you want to, and fly over people and stuff like that. You have to have Part 107. And me and another buddy of mine that was really serious about flying drones, he got his 107. Here we go. See if there's any part I need to cover up. No. Y'all can make that out. I wish the camera would adjust better. Let me see if I can go in closer. Oh, there we go. Look right here. Federal Aviation Administration. Yep. So anyhow, we took the dog. I took the dog, not we. My dog and I and my drone went on a long journey, and we traveled up through Virginia, and we traveled all the way to the West Coast, all the way to the Northwest. We flew over almost all the major rivers. The one I really enjoyed flying over was the Columbia River at George Washington. If you look on Google Earth, there's a town called George Washington. The name of the town is George, the state is Washington. And so you go to the city of George and you can fly off. They have an amphitheater out there where all the top country western singers and all your rock and rollers and grunge people, they all meet, and they have these big, over 100,000 people come over there to the gorge. All the personal information is on the other side. Um, oh, I've had to use my license more than once. I've had little old Jake Leg Lawman come up there and they go, "What you doing?" "Oh, I'm flying my drone." "Where's it at?" I said, It's over there about 4 miles over there, and it's on that mountain over there. I said, "Look, you can see it right here." And you can see look down, see a river, and, um, and I would turn it and face it back, and it would be up there pretty high. And I said, "Well, this is us over here." And the guy would look, and I'd have to show him my license, and he wouldn't even know what the license was. He was just a little old. He just wanted to know what I do. "What you doing here, boy? What you doing here, boy? Let me see some ID." "Yes, sir. Here's some ID." So we've went everywhere. We did a lot of flying. I made a lot of video. I've got 6 years of videos of 6 years of me flying the drone. But I most everything I put on in those days was on Facebook. Uh, yeah, on Facebook. I've only got like 600 videos here on YouTube, but I go back to 2007 on YouTube. But um, we didn't have a drone in 2007, but we had a camera, and I took a lot of videos and stuff. I was an over the road driver, and I went into a lot of places, and I took a lot of videos. Oh, I know about security. We got hit yesterday on this new system. This is a brand new system here. I didn't have my malware set up, and I had at least 100. I had made purchases in 100 different places. It was a scary moment, but it wasn't true. It said I'd bought a lot of stuff at Lowe's, and it was going to be shipped to me, and I'd paid $300 or $400 for the items, and oh, many of them. My thing was just full of them. So I sh- I've got to set my malware up today. We lived and worked during the Cold War in the nuclear field during the Cold War, and we used to have to travel incognito. I'm not bullshitting you. This is America. I am not shitting you. My sister, if she come on here, she could verify. Both of my sisters can tell you that. My brother Robert, he could tell you that. We would travel, and we wasn't allowed to use a credit card. We had a GSA card that we could use, but we had to pay cash. So when they send you on, like, say, from Seattle to Redstone Arsenal, they would give you $1,500 in cash. That's what they would give you. Depending if you're just traveling by yourself. If you're making a move, say they're moving you from a military base like Fort Lewis over to Redstone Arsenal the Army base at Redstone. If they was moving you, then they would pay you a whole lot more money. It depends on to what level. If you're going down TDY, if you have to go do a TDY to Redstone or to Fort Sam Houston in Texas, they would give you $1,500 to $2,400 in cash. Back in them days, gas was only 50 cents a gallon, 55 cents a gallon. That was in the 70s. And so gas was never a big issue then. And food, you could still buy a hamburger for under $1. And so they would give you more than enough cash to travel. And when you went to the motel, you paid for cash. Well, what happened is motels were getting robbed, and so they quit taking cash. They would only take a credit card. So they gave us a GSA credit card. And you'd stop in places like some little podunk town in Missouri. They go, "We don't take no government card here." And they wouldn't take your card. I said, "Well, this is paid for by the government. You're going to be instantly reimbursed." "Oh, well, we don't trust the government, so y'all can just go on down the road. Go on, get." Uh, I ain't kidding you. They were some primitive places. They would say, "No way. We don't have no way of verifying that card's good." So yeah, we travel incognito. Reason being is we were making we were installing Minuteman missiles in the ground, and while we was installing Minuteman 1, 2, and 3, I was on 3. We was already preparing ourselves for a new missile called the MX, which we won't discuss much here. But if you want to know about the MX, look it up on YouTube, and you'll find out that all of our old Minuteman silos, we decided after we got all of I put in 1,053 IBMs in my time out in the field. And they made the decision that they needed a bigger and more robust system, because as things changed over in Europe, especially with Russia during the Cold War, we would counter those movements by our new innovative ways of doing things. And you was always having to move about. You got to keep in mind, Russia had saturated America with people that was here to gather information. Thank you. It's been a good laugh. Yeah, we were preparing they tracked and monitored. If you see, you got a hole bore in a piece of equipment. The silo is bored in a single hole. It ain't dug with excavators and everything like that. It's a boring machine. And the movement of that boring machine was tracked by satellites from Russia. All the RS systems, RS Russian satellite systems, they were tracking. So when that machine moved, they knew we was either going to put in some new holes in the ground, or we were going to make the holes deeper. And that's what we did. We made them deeper. That means we're putting in a bigger missile. Instead of a missile that's 65 foot long, it's going to be 87 feet long. You got a big burner, big main lifting device to get it up out of the hole and get it moving. And so they had to extend the depth of the hole and modify the hole to be able to put the bigger missile in. So we was always having to travel incognito. They had the saying back in the days, "Loose lips will sink ships." And after a while, you learn. Now, if you encountered somebody that was asking way too many questions, your job was a diversionary part. You only played. You made sure that you didn't play into his hands by talking about things you shouldn't be talking about. We worked under the principle of need to know basis. When you was out, I could meet up with 7 people in a meeting. They would organize a meeting. They said, "You're to be in Memphis, Tennessee at the Radisson House, and you're going to meet these people there," and you'd meet them. And everybody checks one another's credentials and make sure we got the right people. But in the areas around the Radisson House would be bars and grills and fast food places and restaurants, and that's where they would be waiting for us to come out of the meeting, and they knew which one to target to be able to ask questions. I'm just rambling along about my youth. Uh, we had a guy. We used to have internal spies in the organization. They were sent down from the Pentagon. There was an internal group called Quasar. Quasar was everywhere, and Quasar's job was to find which one of our people had talked to people they shouldn't have been talking to. Um, their job was to make sure that you did your job, and they had a rule on the need to know basis. If I ask you, hey, what are they doing over at Lima 6? That would be another silo. That's a violation that could get you terminated and could get you in prison. You would go to Guantanamo. You don't ask questions. If you need to know what's going on Lima 6, you can travel to Lima 6 if you don't have a travel restriction and find out what's going on Lima 6 if you're that curious. And they'll let you know what you need to know, what you are entitled to know. If you're not entitled to know, they're not going to tell. They're going to be like some tight lips, man. It was a we were not like espionage and all that stuff, but as citizens who entered into the world of everybody is suspected and trust no one. That's the best way. You can have friends. I had a lot of friends. We had a lot of barbecues and a lot of really good things when we was out in these deployments. But you had to know each and every one of these people you're gonna be involved with. If you go to a party and you see your fellow workers, people you know that's in the program that works for the company, there's an odd one there. Somebody that ain't never been. You're going to find out about that odd one. How did he get invited to the party? I'm hoping I'm still on the air. I haven't started spinning over there yet, so uh, yeah, looks like the wheel ain't spinning. Made it for an hour and 23 minutes this morning. I won't stay on long. I'll stay on till breakfast. Got to have my bowl of oatmeal. Right now, I should get myself some water. Ben, I tell you, any man that's lived the many years that I've lived, they got a lot of American history inside their head. But a lot of men my age have lost the ability to convey to you in a flowing manner a story. There goes my signal. Warning, your connection is unstable. That one's still on over there, but it just did flash up again. Usually I usually I go broke about this point. Yeah, everybody cares a story. Everybody's just chock full of story. You take any man or woman that's lived more than 80 years, they're going to have stories. And if they have the ability to tell those stories, tell about their life's journey, I would sit and listen to it too. The reason being is their journey wasn't the same as mine. Their journey could have been a lot more interesting than mine. I might have lived a really simple life compared to them. Iron workers building skyscrapers. I can't imagine swinging on a hook, 1,000 feet off the ground. And then again, that guy swinging on that hook couldn't imagine working next to a system that has the potential of exploding at 10 million tons. You've seen some big firecrackers and they make a big pop, big flash, but 10 million tons of anything is just awesome. It's it's altering, life altering, awesome. 10 million of anything, whether it be free flowing electrons, an atom split with plutonium, and with the rapid acceleration of radiation and the big boom itself. Um, they couldn't even imagine that. So everybody's got a story, and I love to run across, and I do this. I run across people that's got steeped in history of their country. I even like foreign history. Um, I like Toga when he comes on. I love to see Toga. Uh, reason being is, looks like I'm still working. Um, Toga comes from Turkey, and all of my lifetime history, Turkey has been a key player in the Middle East. The Brits found out that them them primitive people of Turkey wasn't as primitive as the British thought they were. They didn't just wipe them out, or, oh, sure, they dominated them for a long period of time, but eventually they rose. And what made the British think they were so powerful, they had, you got to keep in mind, the Turks had already been visited by Alexander the Great. Genghis Khan, everybody that thought he was something, even Hitler's boys, was there. And you see, they all come and they went, and Turkey still stands today. So I can imagine how much pride he must have, and what stories he's got enough of mine left in him. When his time comes, he'll be, whatever form of communication, he's going to be able to tell some beautiful stories. He's not young enough. I mean, he's not old enough for the Ottoman Empire, but neither am I. But um, yeah, a lot of history there. And take jolly old England, which I love. I have ancestors, of course, comes from England, Europe. And when I talk with Cam is like opening up a history book. And he's an interesting guy, and he does a really good show. He has a bunch of his mates on there, and I like to go up and, a lot of times it's just all about bikes. I went through my English phase of bikes where that's all we ran was Triumphs. I rode a matchless 500cc matchless, um, a single longer. God, we put a lot of miles on that thing. Mystical Rider, good morning. I'm hoping we're still on the air, but I got two systems up, so I'm watching one to make sure if it goes down, I know this one's going to go down. I'm gonna try to make it to 7 o'clock if I can, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, because they'll be getting ready to do their coffee show. Coffee. You gotta have that coffee. Oh, sick boy, what a good human being. He's got all of us saying coffee, coffee. Gotta get some coffee, coffee. I wished I had some coffee. Well, mystical writer, how's the world? How's life in your part of the world? Cold and snowing. Well, we got cold weather coming. It's going to be cold tomorrow and really cold on Thursday. It's going to go down to 13 degrees here. You know, for the southeast, 13 degrees is still cold. I had a I had a father-in-law one time. He was my third wife's daddy, and I probably loved that man as much as you could love any other human, any other man. He was a Cherokee Indian born to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, in the Indian Nations, and he was an officer in the U.S. Army. He went to Tahlequah Indian Academy to become an officer. He wasn't allowed to go to white man's school because they were savages. But him and I, we traveled all over going to powwows. He loved the powwows, and he understood all about the powwow. I didn't. I just found it intriguing. So since I was married to a Cherokee woman, I was treated like a brother. And so I took my father-in-law to Midland, Texas, to a huge powwow. 20,000 people showed up at the powwow. And my father-in-law, he could read Cherokee. He could read and write Cherokee. He was see, Cherokees had their own alphabet, not English. They they had a wonderful chief. The chief, his name was Sequoyah. Sequoyah is buried in Alabama, buried right up here 40 miles from me. Chief Sequoyah, the chief of the Cherokee Nations, is buried in Alabama, and he brought under to be hung. They was threatening to hang him because if he could write in a secretive language, he could basically communicate with his people that had been imprisoned in Oklahoma through the Trail of Tears and stuff. He could communicate with this written language, and yeah, they had a bounty on him to kill him and everything because you couldn't let somebody like that have freedom. This is America, man. It's only meant to be free if you got the power. But if you're an Indian or anybody else less than a white guy, you have lesser amount of power, and the Indians are treated like dogs. I go, yeah, but they're savages. They were human beings created by God. But anyhow, Sequoyah, when he got the language during World War II, World War One, too, especially, and World War II, Jeff could read the letters while he was in the army. He would read when the mamas would write in Cherokee. He would translate it into English for the non-Cherokee speaking Indian boys. So when we went to the powwow, he had all the letters that was written during World War II, and he would the letters had been opened many a time, and he would read these letters from these different mamas to their boys, to their little sons. And it was a really sad period of time we lived in. Here they were in a foreign land fighting the Germans, the Cherokee Indians were, and treated like trash in America, the very country that called upon them to go and give it all. But the Cherokees are a kind, gentle nation of people, an educated nation of people. And Jeff was a major in the U.S. Army, my father-in-law. And he would talk, and we would talk for so many hours, and we'd go to powwow. And him and I, we went into the sweat lodge down there. That's really an honor to be invited into the sweat lodge, and we smoked. We did the peyote. We did mezcal. I mean, he was a lot older than me. He was my wife's daddy. But it was all a traditional thing. Now, they wasn't smoking like to get high. They were smoking to get the visions. And you remember, you go to church and the spirit can be running really high in the church, and you can get into that spiritual feeling of the spirit being there up on you in the church. The Indians could use the stuff they were smoking to get them to that spiritual state. But he would get up on the stage and he'd read all the letters, and oh my God, 20,000 people that applaud him, Indians. Yeah, I really learned a lot of. I learned about the different dances, what they mean. They all had significance, and you got to keep in mind. Think about this: you as a white person go into the church, and you go up to the altar, and you feel the power of God, and you might start speaking in unknown tongues, and you might be on the floor rolling around. You're feeling that. I mean, you don't. This is the level that few people ever achieve. And when they achieve that level, they may be wallowing on the floor. They may be saying words that you need to understand, exactly like the Indians. They were saying words, and so they learned how to take those words and interpret those words into a dance. And each motion, each hand motion would signify the passages in their vision. And so them dancing and doing their powwows was very much like people rolling on the floor at the altar in the church. They had the same goal, is to find eternal peace. There's no difference. God did not create those people for us to abuse. Oh, I understand. I understand the whole concept of fraud and abuse and misuse and taking the church and make money. You remember Jesus. If you believe in Jesus, if you believe in the Bible, and you believe God sent His Son for forgiveness, God sent His Son to forgive man. He goes into the temple where the political people were, and the political people representing the Roman Empire. They were selling Caesar's coins in the temple. That's a political thing because they wanted everybody to change their shekels, the Jewish money, into Caesar's coins. and Caesar coin was worth this many dollars, and the shekel was only worth this much, and you had to take in a lot of shekels to get one of those coins. Jesus went in there and he kicked their asses. I mean, he got violent. I would like to have had a video of that. I would have done a little short on him. When he kicked the tables over. He kicked the politicians out of the temple. And people say, yeah, but I mean, they were just trying to exchange some money. They were money changers. They were politicians selling Caesar's picture on the money. When you buy a coin, it's got a picture of either Washington, Jefferson, or somebody on the money. Well, that same way then. So they was making these exchanges, money exchangers. So he was anti-politicians in the church. The church is for God. It's a place you go to worship and find that spirit of God, and not to listen to a politician and these phony ass, low life and pieces of crap human beings, the garbage of the earth that takes the church and turns it into a mega church. And they get up there and do their political screaming and hollering and all that kind of stuff. And y'all give me the money and I can make this thing work. All we need is money. Give me more money. And the more money you give me, I can make it even work better. And Jesus himself kicked their asses out of the temple. Now, did he pay the price for his rebellion against Caesar and the money exchangers? Yeah. Nails through the hands, nails through the feet, and he hung on the cross. Oh, yeah. But here's the thing about the different spirits that one encounters. Um, the Cherokees are just like the Incas or the Aztec or the various ones that was trying to reach that level, that spiritual level, through an entity that they really truly believed in. You can call God all the different names. You can have different names to the Indians had so many different beliefs. With the Cherokee language, they was able to combine a lot of those beliefs into more of a reality. In other words, instead of having these factions of Indians over here that was going off on a different look at the Baptists. Let's just use the Baptist. I think it took on the name after like John the Baptist, some portion of the Bible, like the Baptist. Really good intended people. They have a lot of things that I really appreciate about the Word of God. However, you got factions. You got some what they call primitive Baptists, First Baptists, all of them fighting amongst themselves. They separated from the original concept of bringing you the truth of God and the love of God to their own. They worked it around. They found some passages in the Bible to use that to start a whole new chapter. And there's some really flaky ones out there. And that applies to any religion, whether it be the spiritual world of the Cherokee Indians or the Mescaleros in Southwest. Don't care what kind of a human being you are. When the spirit comes to you, it is a real thing. It's not something You have to practice in front of a mirror. And I say to you, and you will be. No, you don't need to scream at me. I can hear. But see, they like to take that power of that flushed face and that popping blood veins. They go, that man is really righteous. You can tell by the way he delivers that message. No, that's showmanship. You should not ever be scared to go to church. The preacher should not scare you into believing, but show you the difference between right and wrong. And if you get that message and the Spirit comes to you, you'll know the difference between right and wrong. You don't have to have a guy screaming at you. You will know. If you're mentally incompetent to be able to comprehend this, I believe that God has an intention. His intention with you is something different than a person that has full capability of comprehending everything, because he created all of us, and there's going to be an avenue to the Spirit one way or the other, even if you're diminished mental capacity. I'm sorry, Ben. I ramble along here. See, we got off on a tangent there. And my apologies. I am not. I'm just an old guy. I'm just telling you how I feel about crap, you know. It doesn't nobody you don't want to take you wouldn't want to start your lifestyle from anything I would ever say. Not that I would suggest anybody doing that, but what I'm saying is I'm just an old guy telling you what I feel about things. And it's to be taken for what it's worth, and but it's not to be using this forum to come in here and preach at you. You got your own life to live. We're going to try to make, hey, Quick Shoes, did I speak to you already? I think I did earlier. Oh, man, that's great. Um, I, yeah, we're going to try to get through the rest of our life having a good time, feeling good about ourselves, enjoying life, best we can. Sometimes it's a struggle. I ain't kidding you. I got so many things I want. I'm so much younger than my body. That's a damn shame. Uh, Ben, go do your thing, buddy, and please come back and we're going to try to make your visit with me a pleasant one and not one that you go, oh no, he's off on some kind of a tirade or something. I'm not going to do that. Everybody else is going to be in a tirade. It's not going to be me. Uh, we uh, we get over this little weather thing. I showed Angelique last night. I believe next week, next Wednesday, it's going to be in the 70s. A week from tomorrow, it's going to be in the 70s. We're making that turn. We're making that curve, getting ready for spring. And I, for one, will be happy um, that we're going to be able to go out and ride. And I see so many. Oh, I went and watched them getting ready for Speed Week, and I saw Bob and Tam. I always watch them. That's a YouTube show. He's an old burly guy, and she's a. Both of them are good people. I mean, you don't have to agree with everything they have to say, but they're sort of like the pulse of of America. You know, they stay kind of midstream of America, but um, they're an entertaining show, and they will if you talk to them, if you text them, they will always answer you back. And they got a huge following. I don't know how they do it, but they uh, they travel all over America, and they have just a real good, engaging show. And old Bob, he likes the ladies too. I mean, you know, God created man, so and he created woman like eye candy. That's how he sees them. Women are beautiful, you know, and a beautiful woman could be, in some guys' eyes, she might look like a sweat hog. But the man that loves her, oh my God, there is no other woman like her. God, I know. When you fall in love, you know, you find no flaws in that woman. Oh, quick shoe, go and get your day started, buddy. You know you can always come back here. This is a place where you can come in and just take your shoes off. And you don't have to worry about doing a whole lot of talking because I do all the talking for you. All you got to do is sit there and drink your coffee, maybe eat you some oatmeal or something, or bacon and tater tots or whatever, whatever you want to get you a cup of Haagen Dazs ice cream for breakfast. That man, that'd be fine too. 59, 59 for a high. Well, yeah, we're going to be down, I think, a high of 31 degrees on Thursday, just below freezing. But then it's going to roll up into the. I'm going to go to dinner. I already told her, I said, I believe next Wednesday, we're going to roll out. I'm going to go to Golden Corral. I'm a Golden Corral addict. I go up there. I love going up there. All the people know me. I've been going there ever since. I remember the day they opened the building, and they had a few changes. You know, they had to change the name one or two times there, but they finally got everything financially secure, and Golden Corral has been running good. And and I know all the manager. And when you walk in, they all know me. You know, I'm that old biking guy. We always ride our bike up there, and let me tell you what I did. I come out of the Golden Corral, and on Google, I submit a lot of pictures on these. Like when you go in and do a review of a restaurant. Well, I wanted to get a picture of the Golden Corral sign, which is up on the building there. So I was stepping backwards, and Angelique was going to take my picture. And down there in the parking lot was one of those little where you run your front tires up, that you know, stop those long yellow blocks. When I stepped back, I caught my heel on it and went back and fell back of my head in the parking lot. And when I looked up, people were all looking out the window, seeing old Mac laying out there sprawled out on the ground. Whoa! But she got a good picture. She got that picture just before, so I put that on Google, and I saw this week. I get a review the first of every week. 1,900,000 followers, 1,900,000 Google followers, you know, that follow my pictures and stuff for the. I eat a lot of restaurants. We eat at restaurants all the way from here, from Florida all the way to Washington, and all down to the Southwest, and all up in New England. We've eaten at all these different restaurants, and we always make pictures. And the one that got, I had a friend that flew down from Boise, Idaho, to come and visit me when my wife died, a lady that I know, and she came down and I took her. She wanted to go to the Whataburger. So when she came out of the Whataburger, I took a picture of her coming out of the Whataburger. It got 900,000 hits. of her coming out of the Whataburger. I posted it. 900,000 hits of her coming out of the Whataburger. I sent her the statistics and stuff, and she was just tickled to death, because see, they don't have a Whataburger in Idaho, but her mom lives in Florida. Good morning, D.A. Bishop. Oh my God, we've seen the changes, the good and the bad. Like I told Ray Moto when we was talking, uh, you literally in life, you've got to learn if you're going to be fluid in life, where you can just flow. You've got to see the good and the bad, and you got to learn how to navigate yourself from the good and the bad. It ain't all good. There's bad. You're living. You'd have to be living under a rock if you haven't seen some of the bad stuff. But what makes you a master negotiator is being able to navigate the stormy waters of life, accepting the bad when it occurs, and find your way to navigate those periods of time in your life. We've had some dark times. Vietnam. Oh God, that was such a dark period of time when our own American citizens was killing other American citizens at the university because they didn't want to go to war. How about the radical concept of not wanting to go to war? I was born a warrior. My whole family is born a warrior. Five of my sons in war, so we're warrior people. But we also love God and the peace and all the things that comes with peace. And people that wants to step up and talk about peace, my God, I would never shoot them. But this is what happened. We lived during that dark period of time. Protest about everything. A protest. Oh, how about 1974? We were happy as pigs in mud. Hey, Dave. Oh, we're doing okay, buddy. Me and old Angelique, we like two mules out here. We have storms come in, blow all of our trees down, and blowed my flag down. I mean, just tore my pole, just bent it right over. That's a steel pole now. It's not aluminum. That's a steel pole, and just bent it right over, crunched it over. But we didn't suffer near as much damage as our neighbors. Lost a lot of stuff. All these houses around here all got hit real hard. Hey, sweetie. Hey, Dave, hang on. Here's the little love nugget coming through here. Hey, little love nugget.
Hey, mac and cheese.
She called me mac and cheese.
Well, this is one of your favorite things, isn't it?
I love mac and cheese. What come you looking? You got your little hair up in a knot.
I just woke up.
Oh, you just woke up. Say hello. There's Dave, and there is Mystical Rider.
I would talk, but I got hiccups.
Yeah, hiccups. We got a lot of folks in here this morning, and my channel been going up and down. It's almost went off once, but we've maintained by running the dual systems. When that one goes bad, I know I'm fixed to go off the air. So, she, she was in Hog Hill. I took her shopping yesterday.
But I didn't buy anything.
And you're gonna start boiling me up some oatmeal?
Yeah.
Okay. She brought my little baby. Here's a little love child. here's our little love child. Hey, little buddy. He likes to come in and he likes to get right there where I can reach over and touch him. Now, where was we at? Yeah, taking the good with the bad. Oh my God, we've seen it all. And it's just like with Dave in Australia. Dave has got a tremendous and hello brown chicken. Dave has got a tremendous history of Australia, and he's changing the history of Australia. he's doing it a little bit at a time. Um, little Angelique. Oh, the other day, Dave, my channel froze up on me just as you came on the air, and she said, and you spoke to her. You said, "Hello, Angelique," or whatever, and then all of a sudden it stopped right there, and she wasn't able to make a response. And she she just was so mad because the network went down just as you got on here. Yeah, I like what you're doing, Dave. I'm gonna tell you. Can I tell you this, Dave? When you did your when you did your little promo the other day for cannabis, and you had yourself all slicked up, and you was looking, I'm talking about, buddy, like a rubber tired deacon. You was all slicked up there, and she was, oh my God, he is beautiful. That's what she said. Uh, she couldn't believe the change. Nothing. She said, I like Dave. I like the wild side of Dave too. Yeah, rubber tired deacon. You got to do something to get credentials of being a rubber tired deacon, because you're preaching the word, man. When you get out there and you have your little crowd, you you ride with a higher spirit, and that is greatly appreciated. Well, brown chicken, what is the we got temperatures from everybody so far. I'm at 31 degrees here in the southeast. Yeah, higher spirit. I think everybody has a certain amount of spirit, but your spirit shines. Yeah, I mean, we're using electronic means to make the shining as best as we can, but it's reached down all around the world. Look how many fans you've got that wants to see old Dave's channel. Yeah, it's just staggering how people are really wanting to hear more about old Dave and his rides and the things he's doing. And yeah, you represent your country well. Remember, I told you as a boy, I was always scared of Australia because I always saw the movies about them mean police in Australia. And I notice you have a tremendous amount of respect for them too. You don't do anything stupid. You might turn the wick up a little bit occasionally, but every time I see you, you're always within the limits. You're not crossing the line. Right, Dave, I hope everything's going well for you. I know you're over there in the evening time, probably getting ready for supper time over there. She's cooking me a bowl of oatmeal right now. Want to have oatmeal on a cold morning. Hey, Dave, no, I haven't showed you yet. Dave, I don't think you've seen this yet. Oh, you're right, buddy. They can make crossing a line. It can change your financial lifestyle for sure. I know. Look at this, Dave. When I can't get enough of just Dave on one channel. I've got him on thousands of channels. Look at this. As far as you can see down through there, there's Dave's. Oh Lord, look how many Dave's down through there. I got him over here. As many Dave's over there. This is Dave's world over there. Look at this. Yeah, we changed our system up a little bit, Dave. Oh, Harley's riding good right there, buddy. Yeah, we're now in the 21st century. No, not yet. When we get to I've done all this stuff for my fiber optics. I like cream of wheat. Oh, I do. I like cream of wheat. I I don't have enough room to have two 32 inches. If I could have got another one, they had a good deal for $400. I could have got a 4K 32 incher, and that's the Samsung over there, a real high 75 refresh rate. Keep cut down on the eye strain. Now that's a good little monitor, but it's a lot smaller. But I got that one over there for. I'm going to use it for editing videos. I can use that little screen for my editing, and I'm going to use this one for my live broadcast and stuff like that. In fact, I ain't going to do it. I could have it where, that would be cool right there. In fact, I might do it. I haven't done this yet. Let me, yeah, Ray, he's oh, a cool individual for a fact. Well, hey, everybody I have on here, they have their own uniqueness, man. This is not a cookie cutter network. Dave, you who you are. You're cut with a different stamp. We're not cookie cutter people here. We're everybody is just we're all different, and we come together with all our differences and let it all hang out right here at Old Max. Oh, the other day, I think you ain't gonna believe us. I believe we embarrassed Robin yesterday. Uh, I believe it's Sterling Wheel. Would you believe? I believe Sterling Wheel. He embarrassed Robin. I'll make you uncomfortable. You would have had to been there, Dave, to really have enjoyed it. It was on yesterday's. I was on for an hour and 46 minutes before the thing went out. But Robin was in here, Sterling Will was in here, and Sterling Will had asked a question. That's right. Yeah, we're a quilt of many colors. My mom made quilts of many colors. She was a quilter. I like your choice of words there, Dave. It was funny. Like I say, you would have had to been there to have seen oh to have seen. I'm gonna try. I'm trying something over here. You can see what I'm trying to do here. Thought I was going to be able to get over here. Let me see. I don't know if I can even do this. I was going to have it where we have the whole room full of, have a whole room. Old Mac's going to be in this. I'm going to be all up in the room here. Oh, well, we're getting there. Be patient with me. All right, look at this. Look at. All right, let's start the grand tour. We're going to start right over here. I know it makes everybody sick when I move the camera around, but I can't see myself that way. But let's spin on around here. Let's come on around here. Look right over there. There's anyhow, I thought I could get everybody, but once I turned the camera on, see, I'm so stupid. I thought once I turned the camera on, I would be able to. I can see myself here, a whole room full of old Mac and friends. Yeah, we're wide open over there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, absolutely. Um, yeah, we got everything set up yesterday. We had to go to Birmingham to get the right cables and stuff that are needed to do all these things I was doing there. Yeah. We we got a room full of old Mac is everywhere now. I got to get him shut up. I got him shut up. Okay. That would drive you crazy after a while. Who said old Mac had a lot of ego? Well, I think I'll take that one down over there. Even my chair's getting listen to this. Listen to this. I mean, God almighty, my chair creaks like my bones. Oh, God, well, see, like I was telling the fellows earlier, you take any old guy my age or girl, old lady my age, that can bring the story from out of their mind and tell it in a flow where it's easy to follow, easy to track, or whatever. They've all got stories. Any human being that you're going to run across is going to have a story, and it would make mine. I'm like insignificant compared to the great achievements. Can you imagine a story of an elderly man my age talking about doing brain surgery back during the time when brain surgery was exploratory surgery, and or doing open heart surgery, or climbing the Himalayan. If you go over and climbing K2 or Mount Everest, or there's everybody's got a story. But unfortunately, a lot of people, when they get to my age, can't recall the story in detail. And mine, I lived all my stories, and they're still fresh in my memory. But when I did the thing about when me and Floyd Potts got together, see, Floyd Potts was in the Navy, and he was a cook in the Navy, but he also was a chief boatman's mate. He painted flagpoles and stuff, and him and I teamed up together to paint flagpoles at every little school. We'd stop and we'd go to the place where the county seat was, and And we'd go and say, "We noticed that your flagpoles are really looking bad." And they go, "Yeah." And then we'd get a contract with the city and we'd go out and paint 4 or 5 poles in that little town. Now we'd paint them for $10. The pole would be 40 foot, and we'd climb. And he was a chief boatman mate, and he had a climbing rig that he slipped around the pole. And when he put his weight on it, it would cinch down on the pole, and he'd climb all the way to the top. And I would take the ropes that you run the flag up and down with, and I'd send material up using those ropes. And he'd go up there and he'd start at the top, and he'd clean the eagle off at the top, and he would work himself all the way down to the ground. I was his ground control, and he was the guy that was on the tower. We did them all across till we separated in Walden, Colorado. That's there was only one job available. And as you know, I took that job. I went out there and worked for Delmer Johnson out there at Coalmont, Colorado. I was a cowboy on his ranch. And he only needed one. He hired me as a truck driver. And so he, Floyd went on, and I never did know how his life turned out. He was a hardcore guy, but he was a fair human being. He didn't take advantage of people, but he was hardcore. He fought his way through the Philippines. He did all 100 bars at Olongapo. You got to be a man to do 100 bars at Olongapo. That was one of his proud achievements. He landed over in the Olongapo in the 50s. And Olongapo in the 50s are a lot different than Olongapo was in the 60s. In that 10-year period of time, things had changed. Yeah, well, I would like to have known that the rest of the chapter of Floyd Potts and how his life turned out. Would it be something he was still alive today? He'd only be like 87. Yeah, he's about 3 years older than me, I believe. He was a little older than me, and so he'd only be like 87. And he'd probably have stories to tell, unless he drank himself out of existence. He could drink heavy. We all did back in them days. We had them big, powerful livers that could handle and process all the alcohol we could put in it. I had a big Irish liver. The Irish people have a special liver. It was given to them. Um, we continued being cowboys for quite a while, and my brother and I, we ended up in Yakima, Washington, right next to the Indian reservation, the Yakima Indians. And we saw the Indians as being brothers. We didn't have no stigma about them being savages and nothing like that. We wasn't right. My mama was an Indian, so we didn't have that attitude. Well, we got up there and we got snowed in. I cannot remember the town we got snowed in, but we were literally snowed in. And we had taters, and we had some grub there in the little lion shack we was in. We were cowboys at that time. And me and him, after about a month of being snowed in, couldn't go anywhere. We run out of whiskey, didn't have nothing to drink. Me and him began to get it, fixing to lock horns. We had what's called cabin fever. And it almost come to blows. I think my brother Robert would be a hard one to whoop. He's a tough little fellow. He's smaller than I am, but he's got a lot of spirit in him. Well, I used to, how much spirit can a person now? He's in his 80s now. So we finally the snow broke. We was able to get out of out of there. So we went down to the town of Yakima, and we went and got us a dog. What two boys our age needed was a dog. But we stopped at this big department store, and we bought brand new Levi's. Now, him and I was over there. I took him over to meet Delmer Johnson in Colorado, and he worked for Delmer Johnson too. He was a wrangler up there. He worked on Delmer's ranch, and my cousin from Alabama come and joined us up in at Delmer's ranch as well. That was his fondest memory was coming and joining us at Delmer's ranch in Coleman, Colorado. He's dead now. He died a year or two ago. But every time we'd get together, we'd talk about that journey there at Delmer Johnson's. Yeah, we rode range for I.T. Thurber. I.T. Thurber was it's a big cattle guy in Chowchilla, California. If you look up California between Fresno and Merced, up in that area, there's a little town called Chowchilla. It's not too far from Madera, California on old 99 highway. And it's only a few miles, 20 something miles to Merced. And sitting there at Merced was Castle Air Force Base, big Air Force Base. Yeah, I.T. Thurber, back in the day, he was a big, he was a big cattleman, and we rode range for I.T. Thurber, and he would ride. Well, that's hot, baby.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
Just let it. Don't drink it.
Yeah. Thanks, Hank. All right, say hello to Dave if you walk by there. Okay. Yeah. So they had what they call line cabins. All the big landowners in those days had them. I think it's something that came out of the Midwest or out in Texas, and they started putting these what they call line cabins. And as you rode the fence, uh, you'd have a place to stay, and you'd have the first thing you did when you went into the line shack, you had to make sure there wasn't any rattlers in your shack because it was all rattlesnake country. And scorpions, big old scorpions that big, you had to make sure all of them would be out of there. Spiders, oh, you'd open that door and big old spiders be hanging down out. You have to take your cowboy hat off and knock the spiders out of the way and get back in there, and there'd be that much dust on the sheets, and you'd have to shake the sheets. And sometimes you didn't have a sheet. What you do, we used to carry like in the saddlebags, and we could take hay, and you laid it down, and you could sleep on it, just like you could feed it to your horse, and you also could sleep on the hay. It was a little bit of a cushion, so you wouldn't sweat and stuff like that. And we eat beans, God Almighty. I was the trail cook. If my brother was on here, he'd tell you that he used to call me Slick. My brother, his name for me was Slick. Um, hey, Slick, how you doing, buddy? Oh, Slick, he used to call me Slick. Robert would call me Slick because here's what happened. We went out to drive a Caterpillar tractor. We were working on a highway or building a dam or something. And the guy said, I need two operators. And we'd raise our hand and he said, you and you, me and my brother. And we'd walk up there and he'd say, Jerry, I want you to take the lead on that cat right there. And Robert, you're going to be the pusher cat. Robert always, he'd be sucking dirt back there. And truck driving. He said, I need 2 truck drivers. I'm gonna let you drive, Jerry, and Robert's gonna be your swamper. Swamper is the guy that has to load the truck. Poor old Robert have to load that truck, do all that stuff. He always got the short end of the straw. So he always called me slick because I could always out slick him when it comes to getting the best ride. I always got the best horse. He'd get a horse and it would die on him. They'd give him a horse and it would blow up on him, blowed up on him. They'd give him a horse. Yeah, when we got up at Delmer Johnson, he gave us these big Belgian draft horses to ride. Yeah, he would. We'd have to go. We had to go round up the Belgian horses. They'd been loose for 2.5, 3 years out in this pasture. And Delmer told us that take these. He gave us a couple little ponies there to ride. He said, "Go back there, and I want you to bring them Belgian horses up here. We're going to work them." And we'd ride back for a day back in on this place. He had 7,000 acres, and so we'd ride back there, and we'd finally found them. And after we found them, we bedded down and we'd cook. And we know tomorrow they're going to be meandering around out there, and we're going to get the horses and take them back up to the big house, back up to the barn. And we had a lot of fun. What was out there? We was up in grizzly country. We wasn't afraid of no bear. And we had guns. Back in our days, we had guns. Everybody, all your cowhands had guns. You had to go snakes and varmints. We didn't carry guns because we were mean people. We carried guns just for self-preservation. Yeah, oh, we had so much fun up there. We didn't know this, but we went up there to. He had a resort at the very north end of his property. I'm up near the peak, Rabbit Ears Pass, and he had a resort up there. And now all the cowhands stayed in the resort while we was working the upper meadows. And so we were up there, and cowboys, you'd go out there and you'd have all that crap on you, and you'd have stuff on you, and you'd go and get in this little holding pond and take a bath. Well, we'd get in there, and everybody would be naked. We would be butt naked. So one time we'd all been swimming and everything, and we got out of the water and we were toweling off, and we heard some voices. And we looked over there, and on the balcony of the lodge was 5 women over there. And we were standing there butt ass naked. I'm not kidding you. We could see them. Our eyes could see them. And we know if we could see them, they could probably see us. And oh my God, we looked like rats running around trying to find some clothes. What had happened? Delmer had a brother that was a doctor in Fraser, Colorado. He was a doctor. And the doctor had brought a bunch of folks, relatives from down at Fraser up to the lodge. And they were all out on the balcony. And when they seen naked cowboys in the pond over there swimming, and we're doing grab ass and all that stuff. You know how cowboys are. We'd be just, hooping and hollering and just doing stuff that cowboys do. When we heard them laughing and carrying on, um, cowboys are a little modest. Everybody's looking around trying to find you ain't a bush there around the pond. There was no bushes. You couldn't even get behind the bush. We had to find some clothes to get on, and but now we got to go up to the lodge, and we got to meet these 5 ladies. They're going to have supper with us. The cook came in and was fixing us huge dinner because we were leaving, and Delmer's brother had all these people coming in, and we were leaving and going back down to the lower farmhouse, ranch house, and we had to have dinner with these people. They was lovely people. They love cowboys. And, you know, we love them loving us. Yeah, he had a beautiful daughter. I told you, Dave. He came to me one time and he said, "I need to have you to do me a favor." I go, "What can I do for you, Delmer?" He said, "I need for you to take my daughter to the movie." His daughter was beautiful. She was a pretty little blonde lady, very heavy chested young lady, wore them cowgirl clothes. And they were very revealing. The cowgirl clothes made you look like a woman. And so I thought about it for a nanosecond. He said, "You can take my car." Because he didn't want her riding in my car because my car was a hot rod. She, no, he said, "No, you're going to take her in my car." So I took her to Laramie, Wyoming from Coal Mine, about an 80-mile ride up to Laramie. If you look it up on the map, I think it's about 80 miles from Coal Mine, where we was at up on the ranch, to up to Laramie. Went up, watched the movie. I think I went up and saw Shane, Alan Ladd. Shane? Yeah, it was. That's what we went to see. She wanted to see the movie Shane, and I did too. And of course, he gave us chump change. You know, he gave us $3 for an evening so we could go out and buy a full dinner and buy a ticket, 25-cent ticket. You know, this is the 50s now. In the 50s, $3 was a hell of a lot of money. I only made $7 a day. My wages was $7 a day in the 50s as a cowhand. And that was a dollar more than my brother made. My brother only made $6 a day. I was a foreman. See, poor old Robert. You can see why he called me slick, because I was the foreman and he was the worker. You just got to have the right bullshit in order. You got to get your bullshit lined up if you're going to do this. Oh yeah. So I took her up there, and my intentions was to be as honorable, because see, Delmer would have killed me in a heartbeat. That was his youngest daughter. She was lovely. She had a hankering for cowboys. She liked cowboys, and I liked her. But we, on the way back, we talked about everything. She wanted to know about what the South was like. Say she had never been around Southern people. All she knew was Southern. All she knew was Colorado and Montana and Wyoming cowboys. She didn't know Southern people. You know, she didn't know what a redneck was. See, that term wasn't even around back in them days, but she didn't know about people and our ways of life. And she had heard, she read Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn, Southern style of lazy, laid back living. And a woman likes a slow, easy, loving man. They do. And I think in her mind, she had it pretty well fixed in her mind that it would be a romantic Southern moment with old Mac. But at that time, I wasn't old Mac. I was just Jerry. Jerry, quite contrary. And she used to bring me my lunch to me. She'd ride on her horse. And I'd be riding way out somewhere, and within a reasonable amount of distance to ride, and she'd bring me a fresh packed lunch. I had so many good, enjoyable lunches. I loved it. I wonder what happened to her. I bet she had a lot of children, and I know that I see the ranch now has changed hands. Delmer has been long gone. He died in '88, and but the farm is still there. The ranch is still there. The bunkhouse that I spent so much of my time in is still there. Oh, I think it was a curiosity because she had had other cowboys. Um, she probably had people that she loved, cowboys that she loved. But I think it was the curiosity of like what would be a Southern gentleman. I wasn't even old enough to be a gentleman at that time. I was young, but not not where I had enough income or anything to be a gentleman. I was just a ranch hand. I was I was slick. I was a foreman on her daddy's ranch, and and that's the only claim of fame I had at that point. But it carried a lot of weight in the community. You know, when you worked for Delmer, everybody knew you was working for a good guy. Love Mrs. Johnson too. She was a great cook and a lovely lady. She's a Swedish woman. Now you got to keep in mind this little old cowgirl. She was Swedish as well. And you know what is ironic? When my time was up at the ranch, the first time, Delmer took me to Steamboat Springs and put me on a Greyhound bus, paid me off, and I went to LL Beans and bought me a Stetson cowboy. But in those days, I called it a Stetson because see, when old Mac wore a cowboy hat, it was a Stetson. And so I bought that Stetson hat and got on the Greyhound bus. Lo and behold, remember I had that wonderful summer up there at Delmer's Ranch, taking his daughter to a movie. I meet a Swedish girl that was an exchange student on her way to San Francisco, and me and her had two of the most beautiful days of my life. I bought a camera in Salt Lake City. Me and her went and spent one day exploring Salt Lake City because all she knew about was Brigham Young and all that stuff. And she was from Sweden. Oh my gosh, she loved Southern men too. I mean, you know, they'd heard, y'all come on over here and we'll make you feel good. I think it was probably a rebellious streak with these beautiful women because, you know, they could get anything they wanted in life. But to get an old hick cowboy, you know, an old busted down rancher, that talked funny, had that accent. Dave, I really appreciate you know, the stuff that you're doing over in Australia. Somebody had to do it, and you're the guys doing it. I'm not taking on any causes because I'm not at that age set to be able to do it. If I was in your age, knowing what I know today, I would take on a lot of causes. But I'm just trying to ride out my time, man. Trying to trying to flow through life. I'm gonna try to go through this like goose a grease through a goose. I hope you like oatmeal because that's some fine oatmeal right there. Uh, Here we are eating breakfast, and you're probably getting ready for supper. We're going to have a laid back day today. We really worked hard yesterday. You know when a storm hits, I got electric chainsaws. At the chainsaw My God, that thing is a workhorse. Well, you saw us. You remember when Angelique and I went up and cut my sister's all of her growth that growed around her house there up in Adamsville? That's when we remember we went to the wrong house and we cut down all this people. It was a little skit we did. Um, I put that electric chainsaw. It don't never miss a beat. Old Joe comes over here and he's got a steel. Yeah, a real man. A real man, he runs a steel, we don't do none of that snowflake electric stuff. My saw don't ever whimper. I've got these big old big batteries, and his steel is lighter than my chainsaw because I got these big batteries I have to run. Uh, it'll cut through a 3 foot log, and well, it's got an 18-inch bar, but you can slice through a 3 foot log with it, no problem. Oh, Joe's a real man. Oh, Joe, man, if you want to have somebody to ride with and you kind of feel safe riding with, you can pretty well rest assured that he ain't gonna let you down. Well, he'll basically do anything for me. He's illustrated that several times, and that we've been together for a long time. He'll come over and just check on me when it gets cold. He always worry about me getting too cold. He said, "I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna put a fireplace in your house. I'm gonna put you a wood." I know I don't want a damn stinking wood stove in my house. If I get cold, I just put on another blanket. See, we came up when you had to have a wood stove in the house. You had to have a coal stove in the house. I've moved beyond that, and I ain't going back. Yeah, we've done a lot of things together. We've traveled a lot together. Um, yep, I have to get through his losing his dad. That was a tough thing. Even though he would like to come off being a hardcore guy, he still has a soft heart. Him and I used to do combat out here in my bamboo. He had all these a lot of good automatic weapons, where they put down a lot of gunfire, and we'd set all these targets and stuff out there in the bamboo. And him and I would dress up like Rambo. We'd put our camouflage stuff on, and or we'd had a bandana around our head, and we'd go out there and we'd set the cameras up. I'd set the cameras in different places, and we'd work towards each camera, and we'd do the videos. And then we done one where we was doing the Dukes of Hazard. He brought his car over here. He had I don't remember what that thing was, and I had the Mustang GT. And we got out on the road out there, me with the Mustang, and we set the cameras up, and we was flying through the woods, and we'd come up over these humps and go around through the bamboo, and it was a hee haw time. And we we made all those movies was on YouTube on Facebook. We put him and I both were on Facebook then, and I don't even have any nothing left of that. She got to bury her mom. Her ashes was put in the river, on a river that she used to whitewater raft on. Ruth was a very avid sportsman. She was a heavy duty skier, whitewater rafting, hardcore camper. She was a good camp cook. Boy, she could cook anything. Yeah, she got to go up there, and Cindy and her got together. My daughter, Cindy, They went up there and she took her up there in that new Bronco and to the very river that's so important to their lives. Well, she loved that trip to Washington. Well, now I've took her up there twice now. This is the second trip. I took her up there November and December last year. And the year before that, I took her up there. Um, I had a good time. I want to take her up to Virginia maybe this year. Go up to VAM. I'm hoping this is, this is one of the plans we got. Hope it works out. And I'd like for her to see that. I don't know if I've took her to Virginia yet or not. I don't remember if she went to, no, she hasn't been to Virginia with me. She's been to Kentucky with me. Yeah, that's what we was doing. We was doing the what was that old the guy that did the Apocalypse Now? Yeah, we did the skits with the combat, all that. We had bayonets on our weapons and everything. We were doing that, and I did a scene where Joe come out of the bamboo and he was dirty and grimy and he had his war paint on his face and he come out of the bamboo and he walked right into the camera and he had that hollow long distance stare. He practiced. I did like 5 or 6 takes on that until I'd call him over and show him the retake, and we'd play it back and I'd go, no, you got a smile on your face. I go, you gotta have that intense frown because you just come out of a horrible situation. And Joe is a smiling guy. People around me is going to be smiling. I don't have people that like that all the time. It would be boring to have those kind of people around you all the time. But yeah, I said you got to get that smile off in your face. So we did like 4 or 5 takes, and he finally come out. And he got to just a perfect that hollow looked like he'd just been through hell, and you could hear him slodging right by me as he walked right past the camera. He never looked into the camera. He was coming towards the camera, looking at the camera, but he walked right on by it. And that was a take there. And we incorporated that in that little movie we put on Facebook. Oh, we got so many hits on that movie. Everybody loved their combat. Our What you saw are 2 drunk guys. You seen the 2 drunk guys out here in the yard. I had a lady to get on to me because I would allow him to leave my house that drunk, not knowing. So I had to go in there and put text in there explaining this is a skit when me and Joe was smoking dope and drinking whiskey. It was a skit so that people would know not to go out drinking and driving. And but I loved it. Somebody at least had a concern for Joe that I would turn him loose out of my house after drinking a quart of whiskey. He's a good human being. I think she's up in Connecticut. And she just expressed her concern, and I relieved her concerns when I explained to her it was a skit. And we used to do skits. Like I said, we did the Dukes of Hazzard out there with our cars, me chasing. I think he had a good running car, and what happened? I've got like a figure-8 track out there. It's in the woods, but it crosses over itself, and he would go. The camera would show him going into the woods, and me following right behind him with the Mustang, and then I would come out of the woods, and he'd be right behind me, chasing me. And one time we did a fight. We did a fight on the screen where we jumped out of the cars and we were smacking down on one another, and he hit me. Well, I had a big beard then, and he just well like that, and I just rolled over in the yard, and then he jumped right in the middle of my belly. And what it's doing in the camera, you can see the blows coming down on my head, and it looked damn good, buddy. Old Mac was getting the shit kicked out of him. Old Joe was kicking the shit out of Mac. Dave, he sees everything we do. Dave, when you speaking to me, you're speaking to Joe. Joe's one of my number one fans. He's one of them silent fans. You saw him sitting on the couch over here the other day. He came in. About the time he got his ass set down on the couch, the damn internet went off. That was it. He barely got to wave. He got to say hello, and he was gone. But he, I said, Joe, I didn't turn it off. You see, it went off on its own there. He wanted to come over and join me on my show here, and I said, hell yeah, well, we'll give him a show. But in this spot we had out here in the yard, man, it was a good one. We did all every time you'd swing a spit, my head would swirl like this, and I would hit him like this, and his head would roll back. And of course, I came in and my editor, and what you son of a god, yeah. I put all the sound effects in it. You could hear it sound like a fist hitting a big side of beef. Oh, Joe's heavy, man. He'll kick in at about 250. He's a pretty solid guy. Dave, you have yourself a good day, and I really appreciate you coming and joining me. I ain't trying to rush you off, but I know you got a life to live, and probably there's a cold beer over in Fremantle that's got your name on it. And you have your fans over there. I don't even know if you're having a rainy or a cold spell or whatever. I'm sure it ain't going to be rainy, but if it is, it won't be long. Oatmeal is a link back to my past. My mama had a big cast iron kettle, and my mama would put, oh, hell, buddy, well, you can see right here. Let me see the other side right here. Look, see right here. I've had radiation over here, and I've still got problems right here. You can see it. If you look close, you see a dark spot on the ear right there. That's the big concern right now. You can see that dark spot right there on my ear, right there. That is a bad one right there. That might be the one that take old Mac out. Can't believe I die from something that little on my ear, but it do kill you. Oh, we're going to do that right now, buddy. Thanks. I appreciate it, Dave. Sick. Hey, let's go over and it do kill you. Yeah, a little old thing like that. You'd think a car would have took us out, or a train in your case over there in the outback, or some Aborigine guy, had your heads on a stake over there somewhere in one of those villages. But no, something the sun God had give you for the heat and for the pleasure of having sun, and yet it can kill you. There, every time your mama said, "Put some sunscreen on," I ain't putting none of that stuff on me. It makes your ears too greasy. Love you, Dave. We're going to go over and get on sick in a half hour, but I could go ahead and I'm going to stay on for 5 more minutes. Yeah, I'll stay on for 5 more minutes. So anybody's got any words of wisdom, and I like that. There's 7 people in here and 7 thumbs up. So, um, and that's greatly appreciated. But we're gonna go over and do sick. In 5 minutes, I'll wind this one up, and I'll finish eating my breakfast, and then go over there and muddy the waters over at sick. Yeah, I might be able to get up on the screen and join the guys. And Mystical Rider, I'm happy you've stayed with me this morning. Come and visit. I do a lot of guy talking stuff. Now there's women in my life. I mean, you got to say there's women in my life. I've been married 5 times. I was married 5 times, but I'm not just hopping from one bed to another. But my last wife was with me 33 years. Hey, Motabomb, we're fixing to come over and join you guys for some coffee. And mostly when I'm on here rambling along, Mystical Rider, it's I have a lot of guy stories because since I've been a guy for 85 years, that's the only thing I know. But I do include the women in my life and give them due. Every one of them are just, I loved every one of them. I never, not a one of them I didn't love. Um, it just didn't work out. But we got a lot of good stories that involved the women in my life where we went out, we had a racing empire. We raced my whole entire family, including my wife. That was wife number 4. She drove one of my race cars and she had a terrible wreck. I hate to see that. It ended her racing career. Well, go enjoy your breakfast with your daughter. And me and old Sick I'm going to shut this down in 2 more minutes. And we'll go over and after I get my breakfast, I'll go over and join Sick there and see who all he'll have a good crowd. He always keeps a chair out for me. When I go over at Sick's place, just like over at your place, I always got a place to sit down. He knows old Mac's legs are starting to get gimpy, and he has to sit down. So uh, you boys always keep a chair out on the front porch for me. Folks, we got 10 seconds. We're counting her down now, just like magic. We're going to get ready to do her Oh, there we go. It just rolled over there. Here we go. With that, I had to let the train blow off a little steam there. I didn't want to interfere with it. We'll say good morning. God bless. We'll be catching up with you later in the day or tomorrow. If there's a tomorrow, chances are I'll be here. God bless you. Love you, each and every one of you.